at 3:30. Lynn and Gary Cantor will be hosting an Art-Gen event at their home where CNT members can learn photography tips and magic tricks. If you're interested in attending, please RSVP to Mindy at mindywatkins@me.com. Please remember to save the date for next Friday night, March 25th. We are having our Congregant of the Year celebration honoring Doctors Fred Toffel and David Miller, and it'll be a Shabbat in the Round service. If you are a new member to our congregation, please hang around after, because at 8 p.m. we will be taking our annual photo of all new members. Because of COVID last year, this photo will encompass everybody in 2020 and 2021. Also, please reserve your seats now for CNT's Passover Seder, Friday, April 15th at 6 p.m. The Seder will feature all your favorites: gefilte fish, charoset, matzo ball soup, kugel, stuffed cabbage, coarse chicken, and all your other Seder favorites. Our seating, though, is limited, so if you get a chance, please RSVP, and you can find information on cost on the website. Finally, our preschool is enrolling students, and we also have openings available for our summer camp that will run from May 31st to Friday, July 29th. Please schedule your tour today or inquire about our early bird specials and referral program. If you enroll before April 1st, there's no registration fee. And if you have any questions about preschool, please ask Miss Glory, who's a teacher in it. And if you have any other questions about the synagogue or about the Bears free agent signings, please come find me after. Shabbat Shalom.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu. L'hadlik ner shel Shabbat, l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat. Yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, la 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 la, la. Please turn to page 124. May the door of the synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture. May the door of the synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. May the synagogue be, for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. Page 138.
Verses 1, 2, and 5.
Please remain standing for the Baruch Hu.
Page 146.
Page 146. We read together at the bottom of page 149. This is an hour of change.
Within it we stand, uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim.
Please rise.
School, please join us up here for the Ve'ahavta. Everybody else, please be seated. Bella?
Ve'ahavta can be found on page 154.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol lavavcha u'shon nafshecha u'chol modecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi mesverecha hayom alevavecha v'shinamtam levanecha v'dibartam lam v'shiteha v'beiteha u'vleteha v'aderet u'shachbeha u'kumeha v'sharktem le'od al yedecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'vtaftam al mezuzot beiteha u'v'ishareha le'man tiskerut v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'etem kedoshim Elohem ani Adonai Olechem asher horti etem me'eretz Mitzrayim lichiyot lechem Elohim ani Adonai Olechem Adonai Olechem emet.
And here he's thinking, I had my bar mitzvah. I thought I was done. Never.
Page 157, we read responsively. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot.
That wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness.
That there is no way to get from here to there, except by joining hands and marching together.
Join
please turn to page 161. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will.
Understanding among us. Ukdoshim b'chol yom, Yahalelu Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
We continue with silent prayer, either the prayers in the book through page 178 or the prayers within your heart. And when you're done, please be seated. At this time, we think of those people on our mission burial list. We think of Bessie Delaware, Jean-Marc Chaubert, Logan Knapp and the Knapp family, Valerie Hirschner, Jose Mendoza, Gallo, and Elaine Siegel. If there's somebody that you're thinking about for a prayer of healing at this time, as my eyes meet yours, please rise and say their name.
Myrene Ashbach,
And we sing together the Mishabara. The Torah portion for this week, it's Tzav, which means command. As we read the Parsha, we discover that God is telling Moses to command Aaron and his sons about how to do their job. It's the orientation on how to be a Kohen, or priest in the sanctuary. The Torah, which is acting as the orientation booklet, is extremely detailed. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Command Aaron and his sons, say, this is the law of the burnt offering. That is the burnt offering which burns on the altar all night until morning. And the fire of the altar shall burn with it. And the Cohen shall don his linen tunic, and he shall don his linen trousers on his flesh, and he shall lift out the ashes into which the fire has consumed the burnt offering upon the altar, and put them down next to the altar. He shall then take off his garments and put on other garments, and he shall take out the ashes to clean a place outside the camp. To me, tzav, or command, shows a true intention to convey the importance of following the instructions. This elevates the instructions to a level beyond a standard teaching moment. When a command is given, it's an authoritative order. There is absolutely no one who could have instructed them better on God's behalf than Commander-in-Chief Moses. In Don't Let the Fire Go Out, Rabbi Gerald M. Kane writes, "The first 7 chapters of the book of Leviticus can be perceived as an operations manual. It contains specific instructions to the priests on how to conduct sacrifices in ancient times. This central book of the Pentateuch serves a timeless purpose. Modern readers can regard these Levitical instructions as a metaphoric guide for the attainment of our own spiritual and ethical sanctity and sanity." An excellent example of this approach can be found in the opening verses of Parshat Tzva. What at first glance appears to be menial, albeit sacred, housekeeping task is a profound statement about the importance of kavana, the mindful intention of how we should bring to all aspects of life. How often have you felt the need to put on a particular piece of clothing, to lift your spirits, or to dress up for a particular occasion? Wearing a special piece of clothing, such as a good luck hat or a favorite tie, can often put you into a more meaningful, mindful state. I've heard it said, if you're dressed up on the outside, then you're dressed up on the inside. By instructing the priest to put on their finest clothing for the removal of the ashes from the altar, the Torah seems to emphasize the need for the priest to pay close attention to what might appear to be the most inconsequential details of their special work. As we contemplate the importance of mindful attention to bring into our lives, I cannot help but think of the refugees in the Ukraine. And when looking at the news reports, I see visions of Fiddler on the Roof as people gather their belongings and flee. I've looked around my house and my clutter, trying to decide if I had to leave tomorrow, what would I take? Would I bring religious items like my Shabbos candlesticks and my menorah? And if I had to choose between practical items like food and clothing to survive, or photos of my family? I know it sounds strange, but I would really struggle with what to bring. What would you take? What would you take if you had to leave your home tomorrow? If you took one last look around your home, all the people and memories being left behind, I truly believe it would be done with the mindfulness, a mindfulness that does not allow your spiritual fire to go out. Interestingly enough, typically this Torah portion is read each year on Shabbat HaGadol, the Shabbos preceding the celebration of Pesach. This year, we're reading it a month early because it's a leap year, and in case you don't know, it's not only a leap day, it's a whole leap month. That being said, especially in the difficult times that the world is facing, it does not seem to be a coincidence that we're reading this Torah portion now. In a month, when it is Passover, I pray that the exodus of the Ukrainians will end, allowing them to freely return to their homes. May we all live each and every moment with intention, light, and hope. Shabbat Shalom. Please rise for the Aleinu on page 586.
Shalom, Asanu Kigoye Harasot, Velo Sama
At this time, we think of those who've passed in recent days and months. We think of Ellen Sonnenthal, Tom Usatenko, Amanda Peters, Justin Lowry, Gladys Weiner, Miriam McGowan, Vincent Rojo, Scott Galkin, Howard Galkin, Joel Levin, Abraham Kupperman. We think of those who've passed in previous seasons, and it's their yard site. We think of Harold Anson, Monroe Berliner, Harold Bernstein, Jonathan Brooks, George Vilsky, Ivan Fisher, Jeanette Jean Goldstein, Joseph Greenberg, David Greenberg, Ethel Heyman, Harry Kaufman, Joseph King, Dora Klessman, Rose Light, Amelia Lunenfeld, Marvin Mazursky, Emily McNerney, Robin O'Hara, Robert Osher, William Radoff, Stella Ray, Seal Rostick, Pearl Saperstein, Marvin Schumann, Iser Sofer, Herb Tobman, Sylvia Waterman, Sandra Watman, Barnett Wayne, and Rana Weinsanker. If there's somebody here in the congregation that wants to remember somebody at this time, please rise and say their name. And for those of you at home, I'm sorry we don't have one more, sorry. And for those of you who are at home, I'm sorry we don't have the technology, but we'll take a moment of silence so you can say the names at home. The cottage can be found on page 598.
Please.
Yitkadal
V'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach irute v'yamlich malchute, B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'gala v'zman kari v'imru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'amei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalel, Shemed kudsha b'rechu, Le'ela min kol berachata v'shirata, tuj v'chata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shafai, v'chayim alenu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, huya aseh shalom, alenu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Amen. Please be seated. So it's time for the Kiddush.
and religious school students. Come on up.
You worked for it.
And he can come up too. If the young man in the back wants to come up, all the kids can come up. No? Ethan.
Thank you. I have this. Okay, put it right there. All right.
So tasty.
So I can't believe our service is all done, and we wanted to thank you for being here. We're so glad to have you share this special day with us, and we wanted to thank our shamus, Della Costa, Eddie Birch on the piano, Eddie Simon in the back, Executive Director. Again, if you're new to our congregation, please see Eddie, and Lee for all of his help. I'd like to thank Glory and Lori, and I'm Cheryl. And we'd like to thank our candlelighter, Jean Lerner, for bringing special light to Shabbat. Our closing song will be O Say Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.